Hello, everyone. Today is Monday, January 24th, 2022. Chinese firms bite back as resource fallout mounts. This article is taken from Newsday. China's usually quiet multinationals controlling substantial interests in Zimbabwe's economy threw away courtesy and diplomacy on Sunday, standing up to rebuff deplorable and groundless accusations made by the civil society. 27 Zimbabwean civic society organizations courted the Chinese firm's ire after piling a raft of accusations such as fueling extensive economic inequalities in the southern African country, where the Chinese claimed they have lifted 100,000 people from unemployment after pumping billions of United States dollars to prop up Harare's under fire economy. The rift, a culmination of resentment that has been building up since confrontation erupted last year, marked the first bold move by NGOs to fight on behalf of Zimbabweans. It follows community's red flag over muscle flexing by a string of Chinese miners accused of displacing villagers living close to lucrative chrome, gold, and coal claims, the latest of which is the Dende community in Benga. Villagers have complained that their ancestral lands have been invaded by Chinese miners, and sanctuaries have been decimated in the rush for Zimbabwe's minerals. But in a rare response to the widening criticism, the Chamber of Chinese Enterprises in Zimbabwe, CCEZ, blew back. In its emotional response, the CCEZ, which represents some of the world's biggest corporations, came close to admitting serious transgressions by its members, but quickly reminded the NGOs that it is not within our space to correct perceived legal gaps or inadequacies in laws in the country. We strongly deplore and oppose groundless accusations that are malicious and driven by falsehoods, the CCEZ hit back. Our member companies employ more than 100,000 local people throughout different sectors worth billions in US dollars of investment. We have done this heeding the clarion call that Zimbabwe is open for business and in line with Zimbabwe's aspirational targets such as achieving a US $12 billion mining economy by 2023 and Vision 2030 of achieving an upper middle income economy by 2030. Instead of engaging in microphone diplomacy and manipulation of public opinion, anyone or any civil society can resort to legal means if any of our member companies does anything illegal. People who engage in microphone diplomacy always have their clandestine political agendas, said the CCEZ. It said it stood by President Xi Jinping undertaking to work with Zimbabwe. Allegations against Chinese investors are varied. Apart from alleged human rights violations, anger has mounted over what unions claim are unfair labor practices and environmental degradation. Chinese firms have denied wrongdoing. On Sunday, they dared their adversaries to initiate inspections by any relevant government departments instead of orchestrating malicious accusations and negative publicity with xenophobic undertones that are being systematically thrown at us. It is not only in Zimbabwe that the Chinese have thrown away soft diplomacy, as accusations mounted across advanced economies that negligence by China has sparked the explosion and spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Beijing's diplomats replaced courtesy with intimidation, now increasingly called wolf diplomats. In some countries, Beijing's emissaries have mutated into combative defenders against accusation over the pandemic as they explain and defend the Asian economic giant's foreign policy. On Sunday, the CCEZ said, in spite of the massive opposition in Zimbabwe, its members, controlling billions in investments, were still determined to help Zimbabwe rid of its myriad crises. Though we are deeply concerned about the proliferation of malicious accusations, CCEZ remains resolute in our resolve to foster good cooperation between the two beautiful countries of China and Zimbabwe and our people, the chamber said. Now, everybody who keeps up with international news, in particular African news, the economic news of Africa, knows that the Chinese exploit Africa and is guilty of many human rights abuses. Okay. That being said, if the governments, any group, the civic group here of however many people, different organizations that came together and complained about the Chinese companies, breaking laws, etc. Similar to the Chinese guard in Mali that shot and killed a Malian female artisanal gold miner and got away. And we never heard anything about it after that. And in Zimbabwe, the Chinese company, not the Zimbabwean government, the Chinese company evicting Zimbabweans off their ancestral land. Okay, I do not blame this on the Chinese. I blame it on the governments. And, as I said before, what must be going on for the Malian government to not pursue this goddamn Chinese man, that security guard that killed their Malian sister in cold blood, is that there have to be some agreements, some financial agreements that keep them from enforcing their laws. Be it loans, more than likely it's loans, and the Chinese banks, government are saying, if you don't do this, we're gonna charge you this on the loan, we're gonna collect on this loan, or whatever the case may be. I don't know, but we know something is going on behind the scenes for them to put up all these governments in Africa, many of them, not all, but many of them, most of them. So what we need to do, I'll say this one more time, we need to pay off our goddamn debts. So the Chinese, especially to the Chinese, the IMF, the World Bank, all of them, pay off our debts, okay? So nobody has anything on us. And then we need to start enforcing our laws. And we need top security in all firms to make sure they're paying their dues, their taxes, whatever. We need to make sure that anything that's extracted from African soil is paid for in full. But it's going to take a lot of work.